Hey everybody, welcome to Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy videos, music videos, and tons more. What the hell's happening in the world? We'll get to that in a sec. I'm here as always with Cybsidian.
Hello.
And we have also with us the baddest of options, Bad Option.
How y'all doing?
Glad to have you back with us.
Thank you.
You were supposed to be with us a couple weeks ago, you weren't available, and then, you had gotten your phone confiscated or something.
Yeah, who gets addicted to solitaire in 2017? My wife literally had to take my phone away. It's ridiculous.
Wow. You mean that wasn't a joke?
That wasn't a joke, no. Like, ridiculous.
When you texted me that, I thought you were joking. Okay, interesting.
I wish I was.
This week on Augmented Reality. Bad Options, Dark Secret. When I have those 52 cards on my screen, I
like My Little Pony.
Oh, okay, whoa, we can't even...
We have fans that are bronies, so yeah, we don't mind that shit. Yeah, everybody, you do you. You do you.
Oh, yeah.
That took a strange left turn.
Oh, can I just say one thing that's going on this week?
Yeah.
You gotta join me this week, Friday, May 5th. Go on down to my Twitch channel because I'm doing my very first giveaway. And I can't tell you what it is. It's gonna be a surprise, but I can almost guarantee you it's gonna be something you want. Because if you're listening to this, then you like video games and you like movies. So yeah, make sure you tune in, chat, and let's just have a good time.
Now, you did get that message about how a used pair of underwear is not something people want, right?
Oh, well, okay, back to the drawing board, but...
So yeah, May the 4th be with you is tomorrow, when we're recording this podcast on the 3rd, so...
We should have started with that. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Probably the worst timing for us to do a podcast, because it's like, hey, you know that huge, super cool news story thing that's going to be happening tomorrow? Well, we don't know anything about it, but I'm sure you do.
Okay, well, hold on. We can still spin this. We can still do this. We can still work with this. So, guys, May the 4th be with you. Oh, man, can you believe that awesome thing that was announced today?
Whoa.
Yes, I mean,
oh man,
that is so cool.
Star Wars.
I'm so stoked.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. Yeah, it's the best. And and that other thing they announced, I was really happy about that. But that one thing was kind of like, I don't know if that's such a good idea. And then the whole Jar Jar Binks spin-off series, I really don't think it's going to go anywhere. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, but at least he's going to be played by Jim Parsons, so...
Yeah,
well, that's true. Oh, sorry, I thought they had Bill Nye in for that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, and they're doing a serious drama.
No, he was busy. He was busy. Important stuff to do. Bill Nye has all kinds of important stuff to do. All right.
So what's the news? What's the news?
What isn't the news? What the hell is going on in the world? It's culturally insensitive to be a Star Trek fan now.
What?
A guy in Manitoba, which is in Canada, for all of those of you who went through the public education system. So this guy in Manitoba named Nick Troller, by the way, best last name ever, especially to be the focus of a news story like this. So he had a license plate on his car that said assimilate. It's spelled ASIMIL and then the number 8, so it's clever spelling. And then it was encased in this thing that said, "We are the Borg, resistance is futile" on it, right? Clear Star Trek reference.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, somebody...
And as you're wont to do while driving down the road and you see a Star Trek reference on a vehicle, you think, how can I make this nerd's life more horrible?
That's probably what it was too. Yeah, it's like, nerd, totally gonna troll this guy. Somebody called into the Manitoba Public Insurance Organization, which is it's basically Manitoba's version of the DMV. So they do, they give it license plates. They called in and complained. This is culturally insensitive because of the forced assimilation of Indigenous peoples in Canada's history.
Who does that?
Apparently, one person in Manitoba and their board friend.
No kidding. I would love it if that guy was calling while he was driving and he was the one who got in trouble for like using his cell phone behind the wheel.
Yeah.
That'll teach you little...
Well, it's ridiculous. But the thing is, Manitoba Public Insurance went ahead and canceled his license plate and is forcing him to get a new one.
What?
So the director of an organization called the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation, which is part of the University of Manitoba, decided to jump in on this.
Okay.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
he came in and said, no, you know what? This isn't culturally insensitive. This is, this is a perfectly normal, acceptable word that, isn't offensive to Indigenous people unless it's being used in a directly offensive way, like being used specifically about Indigenous peoples. No, I'm kidding. He stood behind the insurance company's decision and said, words like that, meant or not, have an actual impact on many people.
Interesting. So tell me now, did they by chance Google their own webpage to see if they had perhaps used that same wording in any way, shape, and or form?
So yeah, I went and did a little Google search of the word assimilate on the University of Manitoba website, and I found almost 8,000 results.
Wow, that is very impressive.
Here are some of the horrifically offensive instances that I found on the University of Manitoba website.
Can we do this? It's like kid-friendly in here.
An article about labiodentals. Labiodental plosives can sometimes be found as a result of assimilation. For example, the B in English, obvious, can sometimes assimilate to the labiodental something or other.
Oh man, it's horrific. Like, stop. I'm getting dizzy.
Just wait till you hear these next ones. Assimilate partitioning, tillering, and yield components in barley treated with ethifon.
Oh my goodness, those poor barley. Those poor barley. It makes such good soup. Why?
Perhaps the most offensive reference of all. Assimilation of satellite-based rainfall estimates with Kappa.
Oh, now you're talking weather. That's too far!
Unforgivable.
National Center for Truth and Reconciliation, I am sure you're going to want to get on scrubbing some of those references from your employer's website just to make sure we don't horrifically offend any of the Indigenous people that attend your university. If it's offensive to have the word assimilate on a license plate,
as a fan,
on in a clear Star Trek reference, why is it not also offensive to use a word like in some of the examples I just gave, like when you're assimilating data into, an existing data set, or assimilating in a psychological sense, assimilating new information into your brain,
Exactly.
This level of stupidity literally makes me...
And is this same guy who called that in coming to Alberta and, like, narking on all the trucks that have testicles on the hitch when everyone knows trucks are girls?
Duh.
Clearly.
Why do you think guys like to turn them on?
Oh
dear. Okay, well, we're not getting monetized. We're not getting monetized for this one.
Bye, ad revenue.
Bye-bye. See you later. Okay, on that note, in our second story in What the Hell is Going On in the World, so I'm sure most of you out there have heard your favorite YouTubers talking about the adpocalypse. YouTube ad revenue is down all over the place as they try and iron out everything with advertisers worried about their ads being featured on offensive content. Ad revenue is down for literally all YouTubers right now. And YouTube is bringing in all of these new rules as far as what's ad-friendly and what's not, and they're declaring not ad-friendly pretty much anything that could be considered offensive by anybody at any point.
Don't put assimilate in your title or description.
Yeah, avoid that word, like the plague. Basically, the only things that are ad-friendly now are, I think, videos of water flowing.
Cats playing the guitar.
Oh, no. Cats aren't even safe nowadays because there was a cat that was stuck in a tree that was holding onto a stick that looked like an assault weapon. And so, of course, people, being people, naturally called the police because they saw a cat in a tree with an assault weapon and assumed that, of course, it was going to... What the hell is wrong with people? The hell is wrong with people? Oh, hey, look, there's a cat with an assault rifle in a tree. Is it a mutated cat? No. Is the assault rifle a large one? No, it's actually like miniaturized to its size. Okay, so a cat is holding a miniaturized assault rifle.
Is this photoshopped? Or is this real news?
This is a real news story.
You're kidding me.
This is a real news story that was picked up, and it went all over the place because people actually thought that the cat had an assault weapon and it might go on a shooting spree.
Whoa.
A cat, a normal house cat that was not wearing any clothes or helmets or anything else, convince anybody else in the area that it might actually, how does somebody whose brain process this? I can't even make the logical jump to this anymore.
I absolutely thought you were joking.
No.
When you started talking about it. But it's right here. It's right here on MSN.com. Police called after cat lurking in tree appeared to be holding assault rifle.
Lurking in tree. Stealthy cat. How did the gun get up there?
I need that Farnsworth quote. I do not want to live on this planet anymore.
Yes.
Man. But anyway.
I'm sitting here going, what? How does somebody's brain process that? I really want to know the steps that somebody's brain took. Is oh my god, that cat is holding a weapon.
But it's not even so much that the cat has the weapon. It's just that the weapon is there. Why is it there?
You know what this stemmed from? I guess this is the internet's fault, because you remember all those Photoshop pictures of cats holding rifles, and that one adorable picture of that cute little gray kitten holding that little sniper rifle outside that window. Gosh, that's a cute picture. But I'm sure at some point somebody saw that picture and registered that was a real thing that had happened. Yikes. Because there's a picture of it.
I don't know, guys. Somehow I missed out on this trend, and I feel like there's a big hole in my life now.
I missed it too, so don't worry.
That thing was my wallpaper for probably a good 6 months. It was amazing.
Saib's taken me there with his words, but yeah, I never saw any of those either. Thank you, Saib.
What's that Archer quote? Phrasing. So anyway, gaming channels are now finding that anytime they reference the new Call of Duty game, World War II, it's being demonetized. Now,
yeah, because you're talking about war, and that's just terrible.
Well,
because
I don't know, is it war in general, or is it specifically World War II? Because that is the...
I don't know. At this point, I have very little inside information as to why YouTube is doing what they're doing with the demonetization. It makes very little sense that they've already given, they gave a foot to the people who were trying to essentially get YouTube to become what they want it to be, which is basically just a glorified America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
They don't want people making money off of it. They don't want people doing stuff. They're okay with music being on there. They're okay with funny cat videos and a handful of other things. But there is an industry, and there is a large group of people who want to see YouTube and the creators on YouTube no longer be able to create content that compares with anything that they do or subtracts from anything that they create. That there was this big assault on the beauty vlogger just because her book started out selling Harry Potter books, and they said, well,
wow,
her books are easier to read, so therefore she is contributing to the children's lack of ability to read, because her books they're lighter on English than made up magic words that are based kind of on a Latinist spin in a Harry Potter universe.
Yeah. When you say that they don't want people creating anything better than YouTube itself creates, what is YouTube making?
No. He's talking about the mainstream media. Basically, the traditional media is at odds with YouTube right now.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
And so, YouTube has become a major competitor to them, and this is a threat to them. And so what's this beauty vlogger?
That was just after the whole PewDiePie scandal. I say scandal jokingly.
And I heard that as a theory too. Again, I don't remember the source, but someone's theory was that this all stems from PewDiePie's, I can't even call them antics. He was just doing what he does, and people took it wrong.
Nobody took it wrong. The writers at the Wall Street Journal had to create several moments and take several things extremely out of context, a lot of those jokes, because they don't want YouTube to be successful. Like,
well,
they
also created this entire adpocalypse situation.
Yes.
We've got the mainstream media now creating the news in order to serve their own interests, which is, I mean, this is so unprecedented and so troubling that, I mean, it should, whatever side of whatever political or ideological spectrum you fall on, this should be troubling you.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are supposed to be reporting the news to us are now serving their own interests instead of actually reporting the news to us. Like, instead of reporting on things that are real, they're going and creating stories by deliberately skewing things and blowing things out of proportion. So we had the PewDiePie incident, we had the beauty vlogger incident, we had the Slingshot channel incident, and now we've got Adpocalypse because they decided to say, oh, YouTube is raking in the billions by putting ads on extremist videos. And
they tried to take down several prominent YouTubers, and every attack failed. And in some cases only made them more successful. So now, instead now they've targeted the ad revenue that videos create. And they said we can't shame people off of the internet. We can't destroy people's public opinion public image by forcing opinions to look at them negatively. So now we're taking on and we're going to try and destroy their financial system, because if we can destroy their financial system, then most of them will go away. They hate the fact that there are people who do internet news shows that have more subscribers, more retention, more supporters, and most importantly, more active readers than they do.
Yeah.
And they want that gone. They want these channels gone. The fact that there's news shows out there that have 4 or 5 million subscribers, and each video, there's a couple of channels where each video gets some of these sites have over 1 million views a day, and these guys write Wall Street Journal gets less than that in a week. It's just like, wow. And some news shows like the CNN YouTube channel gets a lot less views by a significant amount.
And now we have got the Google CEO going on record, and this actually happened, I think, a couple months ago, but the video has just recently gone viral of him talking about their plan to tweak Google's algorithms to filter out fake news and to bring on board. Actually, it was the interviewer asked about extremist material, and the CEO of Google is saying, well, there's no reason why the computer should be able to filter out this extremist material and fake news. So he's lumping the two together. So
a lot of comedy comes from that kind of stuff, spoofing the real news and everything.
Well, there's that, but there's also the scary thought of, okay, now who is deciding what is fake news?
Yeah, people with the power are throwing their weight around, and they're doing this, and it's a big impact, but you wonder, what else are they going to do? If this is what they're doing now, and this is their plan to get more money and more attention, then they're just going to get more power, and when does it stop? It's crazy. It's frightening. It really is.
You're absolutely right. This is Google putting themselves in a position where they can sway public opinion by tweaking their algorithms and, filtering what comes up on a search engine for a certain topic, or, what comes up first. And the funniest thing is he said, we're against censorship. We're against censorship. We just want to take the stuff off the page so people can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Gotcha. I'm against stealing stuff, but taking somebody's belongings without asking and then not giving it back, that's okay.
That's okay. Because the sentence was longer and less people were listening to the end part. So we're good.
We've got a perfect assessment of the situation from Bad Option right here. That's great. We're putting it. Yeah, it's a longer sentence, so people aren't going to listen, and so they won't know that I'm totally BSing everybody. And this is the perfect time for my Windows to decide it wants to restart for updates. No.
Nice.
Not right now. Go away.
Do stuff later.
So we usually try to be more lighthearted on this podcast. This has been we've kind of been diving into some heavier stuff here. I apologize, but this is also important stuff that people need to be thinking about. I really believe that. Stuff is a mess right now. It's just a mess.
I had to explain to somebody recently why free speech has to cover all speech. That you might find what somebody says absolutely horrible and disgusting, but then if it's said, then you have the right to, debate it and call into question their usage or understanding of it,
or convince other people not to listen to it, right?
You have to realize this, that there are places in the world where free speech is totally a thing, except that all hate speech is outlawed and all fake news is outlawed. And these places are run and controlled by people like, the North Korean dictatorship that teaches people that they can say anything they want so long as it's, within the accepted reality that Kim Jong's family, his grandfather created the original, civilization that spread to the whole world, and that civilization only started about 100, years ago, or a little less, and that it was in fact the glorious empire of North Korea that created all civilization on the planet, and that Americans mostly sleep in tents, and that British people live in log houses and do nothing but drink tea and die of starvation by the millions every year. This is what happens when you say, I want to control and we want to limit, certain kinds of speech. Well, that's exactly what North Korea does. So when you say, I want to have just hate speech censored, well, the first question that you need to ask is, well, who's doing the censoring? And will the censoring always be done by, some wonderful person who just wants the best for everybody? Or perhaps will politics allow somebody who's dubious to basically state what they believe is, fake news and everything?
And hate speech, yeah. And becoming, it could be criticizing the government or criticizing any, particular political viewpoint becomes hate speech, and then you're screwed. Who's really going down this path to a scary degree is Germany. And I'm just like, man, don't be on the wrong side of history again. Come on. You've had your turn.
It's like we don't want to repeat, so we're going to control everything that you say, read, and do. Because that's not exactly how it started out the last time.
Oh, now we're talking about World War II. No ad revenue for us.
Well, I've totally given up on this episode making any money. But you know what? This is more important, though, than us making money on a podcast episode. This is really when people are trying to control our language, whether it's a license plate saying an innocent word, a perfectly innocent word, or whether it's, deciding that certain things are not to be talked about, certain point of views need to be shut down, and people need to be restricted in what they believe and talk about for the sake of freedom. It's dangerous. This is very important. I honestly never thought that in my lifetime we'd start to see in the West freedom of speech and expression and our basic the basic freedoms that I've taken for granted all my life be threatened in the way it is, in the way they are.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of crazy.
And the minute Google starts modifying my search results based on what they think is fake news or whatever, I'm switching to
hardcore Asians. I'm sure you meant fluffy bunnies. Here you go.
Stay out of my search history, bad option. No, I'm just switching to a different search engine at that point, because not just for our ideological reasons, but because I want my search engine, I want to type in a thing and have it bring up the references of that thing.
Yeah, I need the raw data. I don't need somebody muddling with the data that I'm getting.
Just stop mucking with stuff. Everybody's doing it now. Twitter, Facebook, everybody is messing with what you see for whatever reason, and I hate it all. Stop it.
It's one of the reasons why we don't have a serious presence on Facebook. Is
Facebook
because
is useless for us.
If we were to post something or write something or do something, not everybody who's following us on Facebook is going to be able to see it and or get it, because they want you to pay a significant amount of money in order to get it out there, because they're more interested in getting money from you and or that they only want certain things trending, and it's just.
All right. Well, let's try and lighten things up before we end this.
All right. Let's lighten this up in the best possible way. The news from World of Warcraft. So I haven't played World of Warcraft for about 5-6 years. But one thing that was a key memory in playing it was the running of the gnomes, where you'd get like 50, 60, 100, 200 people on one server. You all make gnomes in the starting area. You all either strip them naked or put whatever crazy outfit you can on them. And then at level one, lowest level, then you take these 100 gnomes and you all get everybody to travel as a single heavy pack as much as possible and jump as much as you can, and then just run into places or do races from place to place, or run and surround a random person that's out questing or something and just surround them with jumping little gnomes, and then just all the gnomes saying crazy things or doing crazy things. Anyways, best form of the community creating a crazy, fun, ridiculously awesome thing. They would do raids on elite bosses and stuff like that.
Nice.
It's hilarious. Anyways,
World of Warcraft becomes World War Z. With a giant swarm
with pink haired little gnomes. So anyways, World of Warcraft has now co-opted this thing and has turned it into a charity event for breast cancer.
Oh,
and they are now they've made it an official in-game event. It includes some racetracks and cheering fans and some NPCs and some quests and a whole bunch of other things where you can unlock some stuff, and there's some epic quests and some other things you can do. And all in all, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Good on you, Blizzard. That's awesome.
Because nothing represents awareness for women's cancers like tiny, tiny little men.
Yes.
No, that is awesome. And, if that story doesn't make you smile, then you have no soul. So, Breath of the Wild, we got more details this week about Breath of the Wild's expansion pass DLC that's coming down the line, and it's going to be adding a harder game mode. It's going to be adding a challenge mode called Trial of the Sword, which is basically a multi-level thing where you kill all the enemies in one room, and then you move on to the next level, and you try to make your way to the end of the trial.
How many waves are there?
It says here there's going to be approximately 45. So
holy cow!
Approximately 45. That's an odd way of.
Yeah, there's going to be 47.2.
Yeah. Anyway, so it sounds interesting. I still don't think it's worth the $20 price tag. That's about a third of the cost of the entire game. You're gonna have to sweeten the deal a little more before I before I fork out the money for that expansion pass Nintendo. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with their next DLC, because it's coming in 2 phases. So, but I've really been enjoying.
Give us Nier Automata skins. That's what we want in our Zelda games. Yeah, I was watching YouTube for some news and came across one video that, interestingly enough, covered this hacker guy who goes by the Dark Overlord. He's successfully gotten away with a few things, which proves he's not completely mentally inept. He tried this with some United States hospitals. I think he wanted money, and if he didn't get his money, he was going to release patient/client information to the general public. They don't want that patient information getting out, so they obliged him. So he tried to go for a big company and is now threatening, like, who's next? Haha. But when he went after Netflix, it didn't work out so well for him. He wanted 50 bitcoins, of all things. But 50 bitcoins these days equates to about 72,000 US dollars. And what he wanted in exchange, like, that's what he wanted. And if they didn't give him those 50 bitcoins, he has access to the new season of Orange is the New Black. And he threatened to release it as a torrent. And Netflix didn't play ball. They just said, sorry, but no. So he released the first episode. And he said, ha! How about now, guys? And that's kind of when Netflix ceased contact with him. So he continued to release episode after episode after episode after episode. And to date, when we're doing this podcast, he has released the first 10 episodes out of the 13-episode season that won't be actually available to us until June 16th, I think it is. I don't know the exact date, but 10 out of 13 episodes are out, and Netflix could not care less.
See, his first mistake was picking Orange is the New Black. I mean, if it was a Marvel series, then they'd have been all over that.
It's a great show, man. It really is good.
It's not my thing.
Okay, fair enough.
I had heard about this whole Orange is the New Black thing. I was going to take credit for this. I was going to be like, you're welcome. But I didn't know that this was the same guy who was threatening hospitals, so I probably don't want to take credit for that one.
Yeah. Saib is not the Dark Overlord. He has a much more creative name than that.
The one thing that I do want to note on this thing is that he stole this from a company that keeps, like, they take shows and stuff like that and they sit on them while they're, preparing to release them on TV.
That's right.
And he stole a lot. He didn't just steal Orange is the New Black. He stole a lot of shows from them, from a lot of different networks.
Yeah. And
I bet you that company not going to be getting any new contracts. Just kind of.
Yeah, probably.
Also, I'm really confused as this. I've noted this before to some security people. Is like, why do you feel a need to keep, like, super sensitive information that you don't want in the public hands ever at all, ever? Why do you keep it on a server that's accessible to the internet? Like, why is that not in an offline server being transported around by people, with briefcases handcuffed to their wrist or something?
Now, are we still talking TV shows, or are we talking sensitive government information?
No. Television shows. Not this season, but last season it was the Game of Thrones that all got leaked. And it's like, oh yeah, well, we emailed it out. And we emailed it out. We sent like tens of thousands of people, like, the DVDs of the things. Of course it got out. Like, what do you expect? Like, seriously, guys, come on. Think this through a little bit.
But I mean, those actors, they acted for the show to be seen. The crew was doing hair, makeup, lighting, and everything for it to be seen. If it's seen a little early, who cares? I mean, maybe I'm missing some crucial details in there, but the thing was meant to be seen. And if people are going to torrent it, they're going to torrent it and get it for free anyways. And if they're, say in this case, paid Netflix subscribers, then they're already paying to see Netflix shows. They just happen to get this one a little bit early. I don't know. I think nobody's getting hurt.
I think one of the reasons why the Netflix business model works is because they've just made it a whole lot easier than pirating the material.
This is true.
You pay a very reasonable monthly cut price, and then, it's just all right there. There's more stuff than you'll ever watch.
Oh, for sure. And it's not like you wake up with a virus on your computer or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Netflix.
I know a lot of people who would rather run down to the local convenience store, pick up a card for a Netflix membership for a month, so that they can have a movie night, rather than trying to find and torrent it nowadays. It's like it's so much easier to just be like, you know what? I'm gonna go down, grab a can of pop and some chips, and I'll also grab a Netflix membership for
sign up for a month and watch a movie. Yeah. I love this response that the hacker gave when Netflix just stopped talking to him, though. He's like, it didn't have to be this way, Netflix. You're going to lose a lot more money in all of this than what our modest offer was. So, yes, he's got the moral high ground now. It's like,
oh, yeah, for sure. He's doing the right thing.
It didn't have to be this way. It's your fault that you're losing money.
It reminds me of Wayne Knight's character on Jurassic Park. You didn't say the magic word.
This is pretty hilarious that he's like, Dr. Evil, $1 million. And they're just like, get out of here. I don't care.
When I heard 50 bitcoins, I just about did a spit take until I found out actually how much that's worth. And holy crap, my buddy's got a bunch of those. And yeah, I'm going to be hitting him up for gas money sometime soon.
And on that note, we're going to wrap things up. So thank you so much for listening. This has been Augmented Reality, talking about heavy stuff, light stuff, stupid stuff, smart stuff, hopefully entertaining and interesting stuff for all of you out there. So thanks so much for listening. By the way, we do have a Patreon set up to hopefully help us weather the storm of this adpocalypse situation. Even as our subs and views keep going up, revenue has gone down significantly. It is a big problem. Hopefully it all sorts out in the end and everything's but we're just not sure. It's a very uncertain time for us right now. So anyway, if you appreciate our content and are able to support us at all, we would appreciate that more than you know. We're at patreon.com/the League. On behalf of Subsidian and also Bad Option, check out his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/bad_option, and be sure to watch this Friday for that giveaway. I'm curious to see what it is myself.
I want to know.
Hopefully it's not nudes. My name is Ashenity. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to Augmented Reality, presented by the S League. If you appreciate this weekly content, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patrons get exclusive access to podcast outtake videos, downloadable music, an RSS feed of our podcast, and more. See patreon.com/the S League for details. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.